دعاة رب السماء يا من صنعتم في الأرض نورا.
الحمد لله رب العالمين. إن الشيخ جزاك الله خيرا يا شيخنا, Allah يجزيك. We've also learned a lot from our Sheikh. But what we're hoping to go tonight is that to take on that aqidah that the Sheikh was saying before, the Quran and Sunnah, and follow the best of the generations, the best three generations that ever walked the earth, Salaf al-Salihin, the pious three generations, spanning from the year 1 until the 3rd century of Islam. And among those lessons, inshallah, we try to look at the lessons of that affect most of us, if not all of us. That is, in a way that we conduct our homes affairs, marital life, that often whatever we find or whatever we are trying to build, if the home's not correct, if your wife's not happy, if your husband's not, not in a state that is content, we're not going to be able to build anything upon this, inshallah. So we want to learn from those. Among the Salaf al-Salihin is that Imam ibn Hanbal rahimahullah, that we know was such a great scholar, a muhaddithin, fiqh, in all the rest of the facets of aqidah, and a lot of books written under his name. My brothers, my sisters, as we often look at marriage as something that is, you've come of age and let's get married, without actually understanding the responsibility, the accountability, and whether or not you're able to discharge those responsibility. There is plenty of things that we can learn from the Salaf, and here is one of those things. And before I begin, I want to put a disclaimer here. The one who's speaking is certainly not better than the one who's listening. We are just wanting to learn together, inshallah, and wanting to actually get the ibrah of this. Imam ibn Hanbal rahimahullah gave the following advice to his son, Abdullah, on his wedding day. Often when we have a son, the mothers love the son too much, and the father loves the son. We like to advise other people, perhaps our daughter-in-law to be. The mothers would say that my son likes A, B, and C, make sure you look after him in such a way. But this wasn't the case. Imam ibn Hanbal rahimahullah took it upon himself to advise his son. When Allah Rabbul Alameen says, "Rijalu kawamuna ala nisa," that the man is the protector, above the women. I mean, a lot of men use this as an excuse. I mean, even with his shortcomings, which we know that is not the right understanding. Going back to what Sheikh was saying before, is that the way we understand Islam? Absolutely not. Because it comes with reason. You are not qawam if you don't provide. If you don't go to work, you're not qawam. If you don't protect her, you're not kawamun ala nisa. If you don't comfort her, you're not one of those. If you don't guard her, it's a complete package that now you can claim to become al-kawamun ala nisa. So Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah said, dear son, you will not attain good fortune in your home except by 10 characteristics, which you show to your wife, so remember them and be enthusiastic in acting upon them. So that's called taking responsibility, right? You've got a son, and imagine the son of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah must be a learned person. We know that. Must be someone raised in the proper home, the right aqidah, like Shaykh was saying. Fidhakallah, Shaykhana.
Baraka feek.
And even of that caliber, he said, be enthusiastic about these 10 things. What are these 10 things? He said, for the first 1 and 2, women like attention. Right? Our wives, they like attention. They like attention, and they like to be told clearly, 100 times a day that they are loved. Fair?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Even Chacha at the back there, 40 years and married in 50 years would say that. So this is fitrah. They like to be told clearly. My sisters, it is your fitrah. Nothing wrong. It is us that need to learn a bit more. So Imam ibn Hanbal said to the son, make sure you are now enthusiastic in doing so. So don't be stingy in expressing your love towards your wife. Never be stingy. What does stingy mean? The minute she cooks. Look, Sheikh would tell us, it is one of the greatest sunnah of the woman to go and cook for us. But we will see, there may still be ikhtilaf. Right, Sheikh? I mean, do they really have to? Ikhtilaf. Ikhtilaf. Don't take it for granted. That's what we are saying here. So a lot of us, we take it for granted. And then, if you become limited, some men say, I'm not very good at talking. Learn to talk. Learn to act on this. It is not an excuse. Right? So you're commanded to learn. Sheikh was saying, قال Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, طالب العلم فريضة على كل مسلمين. Seeking knowledge, it is compulsory upon every Muslim. Whatever that is. What's better is that. You've taken this woman from the house, from her father's. Now you better do the right thing. It's not just get married and it's done. No. Far from that. So he, rahimahullah, said, if you become limited in expressing your love, you will create a barrier of harshness between you and her, and there will be a decrease in affection. You see today, you see women in social media, just about guaranteed the husband's not doing the job. If the sisters can talk, they'll say that. It's because they're not getting the attention, the learning, the comfort, and all the rest from the husband. They need to look for it somewhere else. Correct? Make sense? We need to be there. And she need to be our best friends. What is interesting, my brothers and my dear sisters, point number 1 and number 2 is put together. It is quite a reason for that. In a lot of literature in the Arabic sort of language, when 1 and 2 is put together, it stresses the importance of it. 1 and 2. Right? So it means it's very important. So what we're saying here is that appreciate anything and everything that your wife do. Thank her for looking after your wealth. Thank her for looking after your children. Don't just say it's her children too. Whose name is your children carrying? Her name or your name? What does the nasab say? Your name, the father. Right? So it's your children. It is more your children than her children, Islamically. Right? Okay? Point number 3. Ladies hate a strict, overcautious, overzealous men. Right? Too tough. Too tough. For no reason. Tongues that are hard. Tongues that are sharp. And it hurts. They hate it. Let's be clear about this. Yet they seek to use the soft, vulnerable one. But you can't be too soft either. If they start wearing the pants, you are doormat. Hey, let's be clear about this. Extreme right or extreme left, none will work. Marriage will not work either side. So Imam ibn Hanbal said, so use each of the quality accordingly, appropriately. When it is a matters of aqidah, do not pull back. Hijab, for example, salah, for example. If you pull back, you're not a man. Let me repeat. If you pull back on that, you're not a man. What sort of qawam do that? What sort of qawam let the wife not doing the obligatory thing? One of the things that happens today, we get impressed with basics. Right? We get impressed with basics. The standards have become so low that now the basics look good. But those are basics. Oh, he prays 5 times a day. Well, that's your basic requirement being a Muslim. If you don't pray 5 times a day, you're Islam, or you're, al-awwalu amalu yuhassabu bihi al-abdi as-salah. The very first deed that gets reckoned on the side of Allah is salah. It's not impressive. It's just bare minimum. So, what he said, let's use the different, approach, knows when to be tough and knows when to be soft. Not everything you become soft, not everything you become tough. Matters of the household, do not worry about it. There are some men, even to the matters of the curtains, the carpets, the plates, they want to be part of it. The Salafus Salihin that the Sheikh was referring to were never like that. Then we'll worry about the woman stuff. Right, Sheikh Hana? Number four. Ladies like, or women in general, likes from their husbands what we like from them. You know, generally, and forgive me if I'm wrong, we like our wives to be, you know, in a good looks, smelling good, right? Clean, house our hair, you know, nice and looked after, smelling nice. Yet, have we looked into ourselves, the state of ourselves? Didn't the Prophet ﷺ come and sit into the house of Aisha radiallahu anha, and the first thing he went ﷺ to the hammam and brushed his teeth and make sure he looked good? Now, why don't we do the same? They like the same thing. They like exactly the same thing that you like on her. Right? If you like your wife to be in a good shape, you too must exercise. You too must look after yourself. You think they don't like it? Absolutely they like it. So let's be fair here. Not just expecting from our wives what we don't deliver. Fair? Number 5, indeed, the house is under the sovereignty of the women, the wives that is. While she remains therein, she feels that she is sitting upon her throne. It's like a throne to the woman. My house, my kitchen, you know, my bedroom. True? Don't worry about that. Don't be one of these men that even the bedroom sheet, you want to know what color. And there are men that are like that. And this will create harshness and barrier. And you never praise her. And also back to that point, number 1 and number 2, do not lie when you praise your wife. As we know, she may say, which is it that I'm going to wear? Is it black or is it maroon? You got to be diplomatic here. They told us that you're going to say in black you look elegant, right? In maroon you look stunning. Don't lie. Don't say she's lost weight when she hasn't. Don't say the food is really good when it is not, but don't curse the food. And then he said, because she's the chief of the house, stay clear of destroying this throne of hers, the kingdom of hers at home. That's why Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, radiallahu anhu said, the best of hijab is the house for the woman. Right, is it? Yeah. Can a woman not wear hijab or niqab? Yes, stay in the house. The best place for them. There's no ikhtilaf in it. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said, the best of hijab is her house. Right? And Abdullah ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah rahimahullah, al-Imam ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah rahimahullah said, the best of the women's are the shorts. You know? That it has a short tongue, that it does not say too much. It does not criticize. It does not want too many things. The eyesight is also short. It does not inspire itself to want so many things. Oh, that looks good. This looks good. Everything she wants. And the feet are short, so it doesn't want to wander off outside the house too much. And of course, the hands are short. It does not like to spend the wealth of the husband willy-nilly. هذا عبد الله بن القيم الجوزية رحمه الله. So, number 6. A woman wants to love her husband. They do. They want to love us more. But at the same time, she does not want to lose her family. These are some issues that we hear and see all the time. So never put yourself, it's either me or your sister, or it's either me or your brother. What kind of talk is this? So Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal said, no, do not do such words. Because even if she chooses you over her family, for example, this will develop into anxiety. And this will create a harshness in your marriage life. True? It's not a matter of you or the family. Everybody knows the ahkam, back to the qa'idah that Sheikh was saying. The most important person to a wife is definitely her husband. The one that has the most rights on her. It's a clear given thing from the sunnah. So let's not make something that we know and rub it in and make it an issue. If there is a person within her family that you think maybe not so good of an influence, you advise her nicely. Number 7, surely women, okay, here is the fitrah. My sisters, this is fitrah, this did not come from me, it is in fact a hadith. And again, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah reiterated this point by saying, surely woman has been created from a curved rib. Right? The most curved one actually. And this is the reason of her beauty. Look at the style of advising of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah towards his son by saying that curvedness that you see is not a fault of hers. It is the reason why she is beautiful. If it were straight, she looks like you, men. There's no beauty in men. Right? There's a reason. So, understand that this is her beauty. And the secret of the attraction towards her. That's why you like her. Because of that curved rib. And this is no defect on her. Make no mistake. That's not her defect. Allah Rabbul Alameen created her like that. So no defect. No defect. But he's making a point here by saying, because the eyebrows look beautiful due to them being curved. If it was straight, then it's not beautiful anymore. So if she errs, and here's the point, women tend to err, to the wrong side sometimes. And this is, I did not say this, my sisters. This is your Prophet ﷺ that said this. Women tend to err sometimes. But if she were to errs, do not rebuke her in a manner in which there is no gentleness. There's nothing wrong in advising her. In fact, you must. But when it is harsh, there is no mercy, there is no gentleness, it will create harshness in your married life. Attempting to straighten her, if you were to be too tough, you will break her. You will break that curved rib. And here, he said, rahimahullah, breaking it, it means divorce. That's what it means. There's a reason why the talaq is in the hands of the men, not in the hands of the women, so the wives. Or else, none of us would still be married. If it were in the hands of the wives, right? It would have gone so many times. So therefore, don't be a man that behaves in the way of a woman, every bit got upset, like a child, subhanallah. Packing a sack, sulking. This is not the trait of a man. This is not qawamuna al-rijalu qawamuna ala nisa. Rijal do not behave like this. Right? So we're going to change that. Attempting to straighten her, if it's too much, otherwise you will simply break her, and her breaking is her divorce, he says. At the same time, do not let her off upon that mistakes. Some men, they become the doormat. They're simply doormat. They let the woman wear the pants. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this. You wear the pants. You are the leader of the house. Guide according, lead your family according to what Sheikh was saying, the Quran and the Sunnah, the way it was understood by the Salaful Ummah, the best 3 generations. Absolutely. We're not saying this because we don't love them. It's because we love you. Our wives, that's why we lead the family, because we are the one who are responsible on the side of Allah of the well-being. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum nara wa quduhan nas wal hijara. When you have believed, guard yourself, and your family member. Yeah? From the fire of Jahannam. But if you let it off, and you don't worry about it, then you will make her stay on that wrong path, and then you'll never be able to bring her back. And we see this all too often. You let her off, and you'll never pull her back. Don't do that as well. It's a balanced approach, inshallah. And the crookedness will just increase, and she will become arrogant with her ego. Women do that. They make the mistake, never get corrected. They become arrogant with that ego, and it will just get to her head, and then she'll start ruling the house. And what's left of the house after that? Thereafter, she will never soften for you, and she won't listen to you, and so stay in between the two. Women are being married, the Prophet said, Al-Wadud, Al-Walud, because of her softness and mercy, and to bear children. Wadud is a softness. Nobody wants to be in the house with another man. Number 8. I think it's only 7 minutes. And number 8, it is a woman's nature to be ungrateful. Again, this is an hadith. It is, my sisters, this is hadith speaking, not me. It is in the woman's nature to be ungrateful towards her husbands and to deny favors. What does it mean? If you had done something wrong 10 years ago, right, my brothers, yeah? And then you've been nice to her all these 10 years, there is an argument she will remember that day and bring it up. But this is the fitrah. But why are we reminded this? So we know this is fitrah. So we need to take it in. We can't say to her, now we know it's fitrah, so we act upon it accordingly. We've got the knowledge now, we're equipped. We've got the weapon to equip. We say, Alhamdulillah, this is the fitrah. I'm going to go run the right way about this. If you were to be nice to her, for her whole life, but you grieved her once, right? She will say, I have never seen any good from you. If the likes of Imam ibn Hanbal experience this, what more us? So we're not alone. So we understand this, my dear sisters. So don't let this attitude of her make you dislike her or to run away from her. Don't get upset about this. You know it is the fitrah. If you dislike this feature of hers, you will certainly be pleased with other positive attributes of your wives. So when that day comes, you look for, oh yeah, okay, she got upset, but there are tons of other good things on her. Number nine, surely there are times when a woman goes through tough times and condition of bodily weakness and fatigue of the mind, such that Allah Rabbul Alameen Azza wa Jal gives her a break. Who can guess when is that? Every month she will go through that. But remember, Allah gives her a break. She doesn't have to fast on the menstruation period. She doesn't even have to pray. So what does Imam ibn Hanbal try to make a point with this? Making sure that such that Allah has relieved her. The Creator relieved her on those difficult moments. Right? Such that Allah relieved her of that. Some of her compulsory worship and fasting, praying, it's compulsory. She's relieved, excused. During that period, Allah has totally pardoned her from praying and has postponed the days of fasting for her within this break to a later date until she regains her health and becomes normal in her temperament once more. Again, now we know this happens on every single woman, even the best of the women at the time of the Salafus Salihin, the Salafiyah that the Sheikh was saying about our Aqidah. They too experience this with their wives. You are not alone, my brothers. So you understand this, you got to be light on this. But the point is, thus during these days, when she is weakened bodily, mentally, condition-wise, during these days, treat her in a godly manner. Not good, but in a godly manner. Right? Just as Allah Rabbul Alameen has relieved her of her duties. Right, my sisters? The husbands must relieve you and must lessen your burden on her and your instructions on her. Be gentle. Allah pardon her. What more to say as their husbands? Just as Allah has relieved her of the duties, you should also lessen your demands and instruction during these days. And I close. Last, akhiran wala akhirin, our wives, according to Imam ibn Hanbal, is like a captive. A captive, someone who's been taken out, like a captive in your house. To be fair, the women sacrifice more in the marriage, in the sense they are the one that is commanded to leave their house, to leave their mom and dad. So as a husband, we must have that empathy, understanding they live their parents' house, that they love, right? To be with us, for the sake of Allah Rabbul Alameen, in one of the form of the longest ibadah. After Tawheed, marriage is the longest form of ibadah. It does not end. Not even death ends the marriage. We say, shall we meet again in Jannah, ilal Jannah. So, Imam ibn Hanbal said, when a person left their house and obliged to be obedient towards you, as long as the obedience toward Allah and the Prophet ﷺ, is not transgressing, it is within what is haqq, have mercy on her. Have mercy. So we don't want to be one of those that takes everything for granted. It's always instructions upon instructions, demands upon demands upon our wives. Understand how to use the quality accordingly and know when to be, when to be tough on certain matters and when to be soft in a lot of matters. And I want to close when Ummi Aisha radiallahu anha was asking the Sahabiyah about the quality of their wives. And also, the wives were talking about the husbands, and some of the praises is that we don't want to be the husbands that don't follow this. If Salama radiallahu anha was praising Abu Salama radiallahu by saying there is no other man better than that, imagine when we pass. If we were to pass before our wives, what would they say about us? Would they be relieved that the oppressors has died? And they thank Allah that we pass before them? Or would they be sad? We all know the answers. And our wives knows the answers. And they can't hide it.